Good afternoon and welcome to today's Trader Planet Live webcast titled Spotting Breakouts That Lead to Trend Reversals. This is the latest in a series of live webcasts offered by Trader Planet featuring well-known industry experts. Today is Tuesday, February 16th, and we're happy to have you join us today. This is Darrell and I will be your host for today's webcast featuring Darrell Jobman, a senior analyst for TraderPlanet.com. Today's presentation takes place at a specific date and time, and therefore any opinions given by our presenter may change without notice at any time. Trading involves substantial risk of loss and therefore may not be suitable for all investors, and past performance is not indicative of future results. This webcast is being recorded and will be archived on TraderPlanet.com, so you will be able to review the material at a later time. You can also find additional previously recorded webinars among our other free educational resources within our site at www.TraderPlanet.com. Our acclaimed presenter, Darrell Jobman, trades his own personal account and has been involved in the financial markets for more than 40 years. A decorated Vietnam War veteran, he has served as the editor for several agriculture publications before becoming an editor of Futures magazine for more than 15 years. He has written and edited more than a dozen books and trading courses on trading. While his mission is helping others succeed by learning the do's and don'ts of trading, his editorial contributions to Trader Planet have really permitted him to amplify this passion through the interaction with our members. We're pleased to have him with us today. Let's give a warm welcome to Darrell Jobman.
Thank you, Darrell, for that introduction. Before we go too far here and get into the subject at hand today, we're going to do an audio check first. You will notice at the lower left-hand side of your screen, there's a little man with his hand raised. There's a menu there, and if you would click on that little arrow there on that menu, and if you can hear me okay and the sound's coming through and everything is satisfactory with the audio, would you please click on I agree? That'll give me an idea who can hear, and if there's any problem, obviously you won't be able to hear it, but if you can hear me, just click on the I agree sign. Okay, we're getting some people that can that are indicating they can hear me okay, so we will assume that that applies to almost everybody out there, that they can hear me okay. I want you to keep an eye on that little man throughout, because we'll be talking about a couple of different occasions where we're going to use him. Now the first one, let's just do a little practice, and let's just ask the question, I am a trend following trader. Now if that's you, if you're a trend follower, click on I agree. Doesn't mean that you have any particular type of thing, but if you're a trend follower, you like to follow trends, I agree. Okay, looks like most people tend to be trend following traders, so we will go on that assumption. Of course, that is very important to the subject that we have at hand today. Also, want to mention, as a housekeeping type of thing here, is that we are using the data provided by CRB. CRB has been around for a long time, probably longer than most of us have been trading, so they have quite a historical track record. And a couple of other items, if you do have any questions during the time, just kind of make a little note of them in that little chat box at the lower left of your screen, and I'll try to get to the questions at the end of the presentation. And I can't always see the questions as I'm going through, so reserve those for the end. And then secondly, when we do get to the charts, you might want to flip your computer over to full screen mode, because there are some points that I will be trying to point out as we go along, because that might make it a little bit easier to see. Well, today's subject, the webinar that we're doing today, is breakouts. As I mentioned, everybody needs to know the trend first. That's a very important, basic trading skill that you need to achieve. A lot of ways to find out what the trend is, and we'll just talk about a couple of them as it relates to the breakout type of situation. Of course, you have your trend lines, uptrends, downtrends, you have trend channel lines, sideways range, a lot of different ways that you can call a breakout type of a situation when you are trading, and what you look for as like support, what you look for resistance, all those types of things. Just to look at it on a chart a little bit and give you some idea here of what we can see on a chart. Of course, you have your trend lines. Where does that trend line go? Is that the correct place for the trend line? Is this the correct place for a trend line moving up? Is this the correct place for this downtrend? A lot of factors go into what makes a trend line and what is its value. Very subjective sometimes in terms of where you want to place that trend line. Now, also, as you are noticing, you will see that we obviously have some highs and lows that we consider. When you get into the highs like we have had here, this is a gold chart, happens to be, that's a high that everybody's going to shoot for and think that that's a target, a potential target. We have a high here. Are we going to get a breakout of that? Is it going to be strong resistance, keep us from going up? We have the lows. These kind of points here are all important points in terms of talking about breakouts. And then you have your other formations. You have your little formations that occur, during the moves. When it goes up, you have a little situation here. You might call that a flag. You have some other ones that you might put in here. You might call this a triangle or a pennant, whichever. And then breakouts of those suggest certain things to certain traders. And of course, when it comes to moving average lines, we have breakouts of those. You have breakouts of the market is going to respect those pivot points and then turn back from whatever that point is and stay within a certain range throughout. Now, one of the things that we have, as I said, we have a lot of different possibilities here that we can use for breakout criteria and what constitutes a breakout. What we typically have, though, is some very subjective types of things, like as I mentioned with the trend lines, support, resistance. Sometimes what you have is you have a point where you know that this is a previous high, and what the market will do, specifically markets like grains or so forth that have a time when they don't trade in the morning, like after a crop report, when you have the prices jumping across, gapping those points, the predicted or the previous highs, previous lows, whatever. So you kind of get a little bit of misleading information when you look at that. So what I've done is I like to look at another type of way to build myself some kind of a channel and use that as a point of reference from which to trade. Now, when you look at the channels and other types of things, I mentioned channel trend lines before. Again, those are subjective, so I'm going to go for some more specific price points. And in this case, I am using Vantage Point intermarket analysis software. Now, one of the first things I need to make clear is that I'm not a salesman for Vantage Point, and I'm not selling the product. I'm not getting money for selling the product. But I'd like to develop some trading strategies and see how they would work using a particular type of software, and Vantage Point happens to